Ready? We're here with Fredrik Johansson. He's the winemaker for Staglin, and he's here to talk a little bit about their wines.
How's it going? So we were talking about what's Salus and how's it different than Staglin, and other than style and stylistically driven differences between the two wines, Salus is the charity wine, I guess we could call it. The Staglins are very big sort of philanthropists and are serious about raising money for charities, and the charity that's most important to them is their own mental health research organization, and called IMRO, and every fall they have a music festival to raise money for that charity, and they raise between $4 and $5 million every time they do that. And what the Salus does is it underwrites that charity, so when they do the event, all the money raised at the event goes to the charity. So 100% that's raised goes to the charity, because the sale of these two wines, all the proceeds go to underwrite their charitable activities and all the work it takes to run a charity. And to date, they've raised almost $95 million for their mental health charities, and this wine helps them do that.
Do they have like a special lot to source and make those kind of wines? So they,
no, it's we make all the wines sort of in a similar, sort of with the same level of intensity and intent, and then once they've been made, then we start making the blends in the certain styles we want. And one of them becomes Salus, and we make a Salus and we make a Staglin, but we don't start there. So nothing in the vineyard has been identified as, okay, that's Salus and that's Staglin, and even inside the winery, once we start making the wines, we don't identify any lot early and treat it differently. And then it's not a second and first label kind of thing. It's definitely stylistically driven, so we try to make all the wines as best we can, and then we sit down later, about a year into bottle or aging for that, and then we start making that blend versus this blend. And the whites, we start that after about 5 months.
and the production is this bigger than?
No, it's smaller. So on average, we make about 1,500 cases of Chardonnay, maybe 2,000 in a good year. And generally, this will be 1,000 to 1,500 cases for that, and Salus is between 300 and 600 cases. On the cabs, we make on average 2,500 cases of the Staglin cab, and the Salus is around 500 cases every year. If it's a big year, we might make 2,700 or maybe 3,000 even. And like the most we've ever made of the Salus is 600. So they're all pretty small production, and yeah, and this isn't like a Paul Newman's Own kind of charity thing. The proceeds from that wine don't go directly to the charity, they just go to underwrite their activities. So when they do raise money, all the money they raise from other people goes 100% to their own charity. So it's pretty good stuff, and I think it facilitates what we do, and their motto internally, I don't know if we say this publicly a lot, is great wines for great causes, because even if it's not Salus and it's the Staglin, they use that to raise money through other charities by putting it into auctions and building experiences around the wine and getting people to buy them at auction, and that money then goes to whatever charity the auction is hosting. So it's pretty cool to be involved in something that's it's bigger than just making the wine itself, and we're not just making a luxury product. It does actually good. I always joke with folks that we put a lot of effort into what we do, and it can be pretty stressful, and there's a lot of pressure. But at the end of the day, I make booze for a living. I'm not curing cancer or anything like that. So take a step back and relax a bit. But at the same time, maybe I'm not curing cancer, but maybe the wine helps someone else cure cancer or mental health, mental health issues by the money it raises. So yeah, it's pretty cool layer on top of what we did.
How long you been doing this label?
I think the first Salus was 2000. I think they started making the selection in '99. And initially, I would say there was a first, and Staglin was the first level wine, and Salus was the second level wine. But over time, as all the vines on the property have aged, and they're all a good mature sort of nature now. Now I get the luxury of just making two different styles of wine, and both of the high quality.
Well, until before, like 2-3 years ago, I didn't know this label existed.
Well, it didn't make it out to the market for a long time. It was a pretty small production. They sold it at the winery, and if lower price point, they try to sell it directly. And but then I think they realized raising awareness is a good thing too, and getting it out there helps. So I think there are a few, I think a vintage or two made it into the market a couple years ago, and then it went away. I think now it's back to stay. So
The other question is like the barrels that you use. I see it's a French oak.
yes.
Is the same age for both wines?
Yeah, and 'cause like I said, I make the wines all with the same intention. So we use 100% French, and on the Chards we use 50 or 60% new on each lot that I make off the property. We have 9 different small Chardonnay vineyards, and then how that blends together, we'll figure out in time, and then what barrels we started with will end up in one wine or the other, and so it's not, like I said, a selection from the beginning. So they're all good barrels. The percentages are all about the same, and how that blend ends up being is, the wine tells us which one should be where when we start blending it. So, and stylistically, we try to make Salus a little more fruit forward and more Californian style, and then Staglin is a bit more mineral and acid driven, and that's the main difference. And that's but everything else is pretty much the same in terms of what goes into it.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thanks for stopping at Station Plaza.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.